We have an absolutely beautiful love story today. It's called When Seas Dry and Rocks Turn to Dust in a small fishing village by the sea. There lived a young fisherman named Alan. He was strong, handsome, and could row a boat faster than a seagull could steal a sandwich. But most importantly, he had a smile that could melt even the grumpiest crab's bad mood. Every morning, Alan went out to fish, and every evening he would pass by the little tea house at the corner. That tea house was run by Jenny, a gentle, cheerful girl whose tea smelled so good it could make you forget you owed her money. The truth was, Alan didn't really like tea. He thought it tasted like warm seawater that had been through a garden. But he went there every day anyway because Jenny was there. "Alan, you're here again?" she teased one day. "You must really like my tea." "Yes, yes," Alan said, quickly sipping. Delicious. He tried to smile, but his taste buds were crying for mercy. Soon, everyone in the village noticed. The old fisherman next door laughed. "Alan, if you like her, just tell her. Don't drink tea like you're suffering a punishment." One summer evening, after fishing all day, Alan gathered his courage. He brought Jenny to the beach, where the waves whispered secrets and the sunset painted everything in gold. "Jenny," he said, "I may not have much, but I will love you until the seas dry up and the rocks turn to dust." Jenny giggled. "That's a big promise. Seas drying up, rocks turning to dust. That's impossible." "That's the point," Alan said. "My love will last forever." And under that setting sun, they promised each other no matter what storms came, they would stay together. For a while, life was sweet. Caught enough fish to buy flowers for Jenny, and she saved the prettiest tea leaves for him. But happiness is like fishing, sometimes the waters turn rough. One day, a wealthy merchant came to the village. He was tall, well-dressed, and had more silver coins than there were fish in the sea. He saw Jenny and decided he must marry her. The merchant went to Jenny's father. "I can give your daughter a fine life. She will never have to work again. She will wear silk and eat caviar every day." Her father, tempted by the idea of a better life for his daughter, told Jenny, "Alan is a poor fisherman. The sea is dangerous. Go with the merchant. You will have a much easier and better life." That night, Jenny cried by the shore. Alan found her. "They want me to marry the merchant," she whispered. Do you want to?" Alan asked, his voice trembling like a fishing net in a storm. "No, but I also don't want to see you struggle forever. What if one day the sea takes you from me?" Alan took her hands. "I don't care if I have to row through storms or eat plain rice every day. I made you the eternal promise. Unless the seas dry up and the rocks turn to dust, I will not let go." Jenny's tears mixed with the ocean breeze. She hugged him tightly, as if holding him could stop the tide of fate. The merchant was not a patient man. One evening, he came to the shore where Alan was repairing his boat. "Listen, fisherman," he said coldly. "You can't compete with me. Let her go." Alan stood firm. "She is not something to be bought." The merchant's face darkened. "We'll see about that. Just to let you know, I worked hard my whole life to find this person whom I love. I won't let her go either." A week later, a terrible storm hit the village. The waves were so high, they seemed to want to swallow the sky. Many fishing boats were still out, including Alan's. Jenny waited all night by the shore, her hands shaking, her heart pounding. At dawn, the survivors returned, but Alan was not among them. Days turned into weeks. People said Alan's boat had been seen far out at sea, broken apart. "He's gone," they told her gently. But Jenny refused to believe it. Every morning she went to the shore with a pot of tea in case he came back cold and tired. The merchant tried again. "He's gone. You can't wait forever." But Jenny shook her head. "I made a promise to him. I'll wait until the seas dry up and the rocks turn to dust." Years passed. The sea stayed full. The rocks stayed hard, and Jenny's hair turned silver. People began to call her the Lady by the Sea. One quiet morning after many years, a small fishing boat appeared on the horizon. The villagers ran to the shore, curious. An old man stepped off, his clothes tattered, his skin dark from the sun. But his eyes were the same as the young fisherman's long ago. "Jenny," he said, his voice hoarse. She dropped the tea she was holding. "Alan." It turned out the storm had thrown him far out to sea. He had been rescued by a distant island's fishermen, where he lived until he could save enough to return. They were no longer young. His hands were rough, her hair was white. But when they looked at each other, they saw the same people who had made that promise under the golden sunset. One evening, sitting by the shore, Alan held her hand and laughed softly. The seas didn't dry up, the rocks didn't turn to dust, but you still waited. Jenny smiled, and you came back. When the sun dipped below the horizon, the waves whispered, again carrying their love story far beyond the village. And so, their promise lasted. Not just until the seas dried up and rocks turned to dust, but far beyond even that. Moral of the story? True love is not about how easy the path is, but about walking it together, even if storms come, even if years pass. A promise, once made with a sincere heart, can last longer than time itself. The end.